Welcome back to Kaleidoscope the Podcast. And my guest today is Heather Taylor. Heather and I go back quite some years online. Again, we met online. And Heather, I'm going to say is Magick with a K. Isn't that right?
That is
And
correct.
occasionally I'd have gotten wee messages and I'd have gone, they're from Heather because the magic would always have been spelled with a K. So, Heather, thank you very, very much for coming along today and agreeing to chat with us. I love all that you've been doing. We've had a brief chat off air before we came on the recording. I love how your life has been developing from we were in that challenge so many years ago. Um, some of my listeners will never have heard of you, and I hope after this they will follow you as much as I do. I would love to live wherever it is that you live, that you're able to do a lot of your stuff outside in a way that we can't
Yeah.
do. We just about get outside for a burning ceremony and run back in again. Um, so I'm going to ask the four questions and then pass it over to you for you to tell us whatever bit or piece that you want, whatever story you want to tell us. So the four questions are: what was life like before the change? What was life like during the change? What was like life like after the change? And what does the future hold? Not that any of us have a crystal ball, but as best as you can guess or would like.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for having me, Valerie. As always, it's lovely to be back in touch again, actually. I read my soul is like, oh, it's so nice. So I thought there's a couple of different aspects of my life that I thought I could talk about today, but one was either my near-death experience and how life changed with that. But actually I felt the really important thing is uh, about letting everyone know how I changed and came out into the world as a witch and how my journey has gone. Um, so what happened before the change was I was very, obviously as a small girl, as a small child, everything was magical. Without even knowing, I would see spirit. There were many friends I would, play with all the time. Thought it was a normal, natural thing, and everybody could see this. Um, and life kind of happens, and I lost my magic. I lost who I was. I lost this little girl who was always in the down in the garden making potions in the shed, as I'm sure we all were, not understanding what this leaf was or where that berry was, but crushing it all and then giving offerings. But as I say, you become a teenager, life moves on, you then kind of find that you're living this life for everybody else rather than yourself. And I realized that I probably made many mistakes. I made many wrong choices with everything because I wasn't being my authentic self. But obviously, at that point, not really understanding anything about the authentic self or going through all of that. Um, and kind of condensing my story down a little bit. I met my husband as who is now. And because of him, I was able to become the person I am now, which is really lovely. But with that, kind of, it was a really difficult change, I guess, because I really didn't know who I was at all. So I had a really bad breakdown, and the panic attacks, anxiety was beyond anything I'd ever experienced before. I couldn't leave the house. I couldn't shower alone, because I was just frightened of everything. I don't even know what I was frightened of, but it was just everything. Um, so that was a lot of kind of stuff that happened before the change. What happened during the change was obviously I had this breakdown, which then made me sit there questioning everything I'd ever known about myself. And I would sit there sometimes in pure silence for a day, just in complete, uh, who am I? Who am I? What is this life? And it was actually because for the first time in my life, I actually felt safe. So my husband, or as he is now, had made me feel safe. And I actually realized that's why I had my breakdown, because suddenly all my barriers over all these years from small child to adult had been so high. And day by day, bit by bit, they were able to come down. And so going through all of that. Um, and I then just spent so much time in meditation, started off 5 minutes sometimes because I was absolutely terrible, because the anxiety brain would just be going round and round and round, and I wouldn't be able to focus on anything. And I'd be like, oh, and then other days it was amazing. I'd be in meditation for 2 hours or something, and just so many questions I was asking myself, and then, shedding lots of pain and really going so deep. But then sometimes everything would feel so wonderful, and then it would be really deep again, and then it'd feel really wonderful, then it'd be really deep again. So it was a continual cycle. Um, and as if by chance, where we lived, a little witchy shop opened. Well, it was a new age shop opened where we lived, literally down the road. And when I say down the road, it was like 5 steps away. And it was as if the universe was like, oh, we're just going to put that there for you because this is what you need. You don't know it yet, but we're going to put that there for you. And the day that they opened, I went in and I cried. And I literally felt so overwhelmed. I was like, I've come home. It was everything in the shop. Was looking around at all of the herbs, and I was like, my soul was just, I didn't really know what was happening because I just felt this overwhelming emotion. And there was a knowing inside of like, I've come home. So I would then spend so much time down there. I went on every course that they did so that I could reconnect with myself. And through that, that's when I started to find who I was. And this was like, oh my goodness, this was the big part of me that was always there. Um, but I just had never allowed to express or be part of my life all the time. So yeah, that was just beautiful. And of course, that's when I then thought there's lots of things that I need to heal for myself, but actually, I really want to now be able to help so many other people through all of the things, to know that, life doesn't have to end. When I was younger, I tried to end my own life as well because of all the things that happened. And I wanted to be able to kind of magic saved my life, like magic spells, ritual, all of that saved my life over and over again. And I hadn't realized all the years how much, even when I didn't realize I was doing things, that actually, when I think back, even though I was hidden away in the closet at that point, when I look back, I think, oh, wow, I actually did something there. I lit a candle. It's something really simple, but it was like when I suddenly needed a reconnection, I lit a candle, or I went for a walk out in nature. So something really simple. Um, so yeah, so I just kind of really started expanding, and then obviously that's when I went to do my course, to do the Master Spiritual Life Coach and Energy Psychologist, so that I could heal, or understand parts and all the things that had happened to me, so that I could then use that to move forward to help many other people through. Um, so kind of, I guess, after the change was me doing the course, fully then starting to accept who I was and how I wanted to live my life on a daily basis, how I didn't want to hide away, how I wanted to have a voice, and how I wanted everybody else to have a voice, all the people that have never been able to have a voice, to help them. I hate using the word feel safe, but but to feel safe, because there isn't another word, but to feel held, to feel heard, and to feel nurtured, honored, yeah, in every moment. And how I now, so I started to create little moon circles from my house, and I would have one-to-one clients at the house. But then I then started to find my way forward of how I could incorporate magic with that, because when I was going through my traumas and when I was going through all of my things, I didn't want to sit. I'd been in a mental health unit and it wasn't the greatest place, and to sit there in four walls with chairs, two chairs and someone with a clipboard tick listing off questions, I was like, I don't want to be that person. So if I'd have had someone sitting there with a cauldron I going, let's burn this, let's write down that shit and let's burn it. I'll be like, yeah, let's do it. And so I kind of have adapted my professional side, but with using magic. So we will, use all of the things that we do. So yeah, so I do moon circles, we do lots of spiritual gatherings, lots of magic. So, we run lots of kind of like all things to do with how, to celebrate the wheel of the year. And not necessarily from a Wiccan perspective, but more actually just understanding how the seasons work with you. So exactly the same as the moon, how the moon works with you, how you can work with the moon, and I think a lot of it as well is just about ritual. It's about honoring something, and it means that you're taking that time to honor yourself and to have that self-care. And again, all these things have just saved me over and over again. So when I feel myself kind of starting to lose focus or anything else, in it comes. But obviously now I'm very lucky as well because with this change, I have opened a shop, which is the Magickal Emporium. Ooh. But I've opened it because I wanted to be able to honor who I was and who I am, and it has allowed so many other people because it was a tiny little shop to start off with, and now it's grow. We've moved, and we now have a shop. We have a huge workshop space. We have a reading room, which also where I do my readings, but it's also a space that people can just come and sit. People have been bringing in all their spiritual books, witchy books, everything they don't use anymore. So we're creating a community library. We have a healing room, and then we do like mindfulness meditation every Thursday. We do drop-in mindful crafting. So we've got so many things that we now do, and it's also just trying to bring. I guess obviously, because the whole thing was about me becoming, me calling myself a witch, and that was more about empowerment than it was anything else. It was to show that I do not stand in fear of who I am. So I'm not kind of, it's not about having a title. It's not about calling myself anything, but it was just to show that I have a voice and that I have a voice for many other women who are wise, who are amazing, who are all, everything. And basically to say this is why we have this voice now. But we welcome, obviously, there is everybody, men, women, everybody who are there. So it isn't just that. Um, and yeah, and the shop has just been, even bigger because I have fully stepped forward. So it is like the butterfly completely coming out and revealing the colours and kind of being like, I am here. But that is also so that people can understand that I've gone from being in such a dark place to now being where I am now. And that is just from simple acts of doing a little spell, doing some ritual, being out in nature. And it isn't for everybody. And I fully, understand that. And it isn't about trying to push someone to do something, but people come to us and we just, we're there if they wish to speak. And just hold that space for them in where we are. And I guess what does the future hold? Wow, I don't know. I just love every day. I mean, I love the shop. It's probably going to be more workshops, collaborating with more people, getting the word out there even more, just about the fact that life is so worth living, no matter kind of what's been thrown at you. Life is so worth living every day, and it is beautiful if we choose to look at it. Um, and yeah, so I just think for me, the future holds just big, bigger and better things. And it's just, I love the fact that every day something happens, and I think I'm just so open. I fully trust the process. I fully trust that I'm here for a reason, and all these things that have gone on, that have happened, have led me to where I am now, to be able to help so many other people. And it's an honor to kind of be there for all of these people.
Lovely. And I love that you wrapped up with that, because one of the first things I wrote down was wrong choices. And for me, I'd have said that, I made so many bad choices in my life and all the rest. But I think we had to go through that to be able to find ourselves. Because I was a bit like you. I loved being up trees, and I loved making mud pies, and I even had a wee mini wheelbarrow, and I had been concocting things, and there had been grass and all sorts in there. Um, and I think it's that when we start to go to school and into society, we're taught this is how we're meant to be.
Yeah.
Whereas I think, so one of the first questions I ask when people come to my, very, very new people come to my healing circles, is, what do you think witch is? What does the word witch mean to you? So I'm going to ask you, Heather, what does the word witch actually mean to you?
So for me, it is about being you. It is about being your authentic self, whatever that is. And it is about being able to step into your power and not be frightened about who you are. So if you are a healer, if you are a teacher, if you are a nurse, if you are something, but it's about having your voice heard. And for me, it kind of like, that's one side of it. And then the other side is just honoring nature, honoring Mother Earth, honoring the elements, honoring everything that we see, the moon, ritual, so it has this two kind of like thing of just like honoring all of that side of it, and then having your voice and, being heard. But yeah, it definitely kind of is that whole honoring of self, honoring of nature. Yeah.
You see, I would go back to the medieval type, that we were women,
Yeah, we're women,
usually
exactly. Yeah,
women, usually the healers of the village, like the
yeah,
midwife, the wise woman that you went to who knew, well, we'll just whack a bit of lavender on that, or we'll brew you up a wee bit of lemon and honey, and your throat will be fine. Do you know that kind
yeah,
of, not healer as in Mary
yeah,
Magdalene hands
yeah,
on type healing, but
yeah, yeah.
you know
Yeah, you
the
just
old
knew what to
fashioned.
do with the herbs and the ancient. Yeah, yeah,
Absolutely. Um, so for me, that's what a witch is, and that's what I'm always saying. It's the woman, and it's usually the women collectively in a
yeah,
village who did the stuff that helped everybody.
yeah,
Um, but also honored that, and it's that thing as well for me, the whole 28 days thing with the moon.
yeah,
And I know there's some people get a bit, and I'm like, but if all it does, if you're really not into it and you're really not comfortable with it, but if you keep in cycle with the moon, and it just reminds you to take a little bit more care of yourself every 28 days,
yeah,
then that's okay. It doesn't have to be any more than that.
yeah,
But the
yeah.
more we remember that there's not nature and us, that we are one.
One.
And without nature, without Pachamama, without Mother Earth, we wouldn't exist. We wouldn't be here. Um, and we can get into the whole spirituality of the Big Bang theory. And to me, that was just Mother, Father, God clapping their hands and going, right, let's get started. And so yes, if Mother, Father, God hadn't done that, we wouldn't be here. But we literally wouldn't exist without, because she gives us our water and our food and our so on. So why would you not honor that and
Yeah,
honor your place in that and
yeah,
what you can contribute to help heal and so on and so forth?
yeah.
So that was my thing. That was a very long way going round. Wrong choices. I think the wrong choices, difficult choices, things, the choices that made our lives difficult for us, brought us to where we are now. So I was really pleased that you kind of circled back and went, all my choices brought me to here.
Yeah.
Um, you said about ending your life, and I've yeah been there, done that. Wanted to get into the bath and do anyway. Um, from a very young age.
Mm.
Um, and I think now with all the training I've done, I think it was a lack of language, and what I actually wanted was just for the pain to stop.
Yeah.
And the
Yes.
more, like you're saying, because I climbed trees, the further away I got from nature, the more pain I was in, and the more I go back to nature and
Yeah.
back to that rhythm of how life should be, the 28-day cycle of a woman, of a female, and the moon
Yeah.
and stuff. The more I reconnect with that, and you were saying, even in the darkest times, you did something like you light a candle. For me, when I'm teaching anybody about emotional well-being or the spiritual stuff that I teach, I always say your body knows because
Yeah.
your body is a part of nature and your body knows. So even if you've consciously, spiritually, socially forgotten this stuff, and socially, I don't think we have forgotten this stuff because if you go into Catholic churches, they're lighting candles all over the
I
place.
know.
I just
I
think
know
they've
this
forgotten
is
what the
true.
significance is.
And the incense is burning and everything. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And a lot of, I'm reading a lot spiritual stuff, obviously, as I'm sure you do as well. They're now looking at the cathedrals and going, these are sound healing places. They have the sound healing symbols in the windows. Those big round windows, when you look at them, are 432 hertz. And actually, so there's part of me thinking we shouldn't be going into churches and being shh, quiet.
Just,
I
yeah.
think I think that has come about because we've forgotten what churches were for. And churches and cathedrals particularly are great big sound baths, and we should be going in and making lots proper
Yeah.
bells. And I want, but of course we put all the bells away. Um, so it's our body knows, and
Mm.
when we reconnect with nature, it reminds our body what to do, and we will do the things that helps ourselves. So that was,
Yeah.
I'm sitting there going, "Yay!" She's saying all the stuff I love to tell people. Um, Another big one for me that is a difficult one for a lot of people that they come across is what you and I would know as the witch wound.
Yeah.
And it's that fear of persecution, the fear
Yeah.
of exactly as you said about coming out of the closet. I kept it hidden. And when I came out of I felt like I came home. Can I ask if it's not too personal? If it's too personal, that's fine. Don't please don't answer it. How did you heal the witch wound?
Um, Over this period of time, it did take time. Um, how did I heal it? I think by just without because I wasn't being my authentic self, I that for me, as I started to step into that and kind of come out, and if someone would say to me, "Oh, what do you do?" And I'd say, "Well, I read cards and I can feel energy and I can, speak to the other side and things like that." So I think just by actually starting to be honest when people ask me a question, I start because the first time I kind of even said that read cards or something like that, it was kind of it was quite sort of like tarot, sort of thing, because I was waiting for that, to kind of come out of it. But and I am so proud of who I am now. I know who I am and I'm proud of who I am. And um, I stand proud in my town and everyone knows. And that's how it all kind of started. I mean, obviously my kind of name is the Witch of Suffolk. But it kind of started as a bit of a joke. You kind of think, oh, you're the witch, but now it's stuck and it's kind of like that is who I am. But I stand really proud for that. And I think for me, it was just being able to speak my truth. So it was not just the truth about that, the truth of the hurts, the truth of how I felt. And to be able to do things like doing this is healing the witch wound, continually healing it, not just for me, but for others. And by one person, by me coming out, other people started to step forward So for me, that's healing not just my witch wound, but their wound as well, and showing unity for women as well, especially where we are, because we know what it can be like. Women, some women gather, and it's you're like, oh, that's it. But actually, how we gather is in such an amazing way of like being their cheerleader. And if they're saying something, you're supporting them. If they've done something amazing, you're sitting there going, oh my goodness, that is incredible. How amazing are you? And somebody comes in and it's like, you're beautiful. Like a lady came into my shop the other day and she was the most beautiful lady I'd ever seen. And I had no hesitation in just saying to her, you are absolutely beautiful. And she was like, oh my goodness. And I was like, absolutely beautiful face. And then I was like, have a lovely day, my darling. And then I walked off because I was about to go. And she was just like, and why shouldn't we be able to say that? For me, that is healing the witch wound because we're offering, such wonderfulness to other people as well and giving them that time. And so I think for me, it's like a continual journey of constantly healing it, if I'm honest. I don't think it's ever yeah, I don't feel like it's ever like, oh yeah, I've healed that now. It's like, no, we have to keep healing it because it's not just ours to heal, it's a ripple effect. So as I say, by doing this is healing it for me again because I'm speaking my truth about it. So yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah, I love that. And I love that it is that collective. There's something, it's the divine feminine, isn't it?
Yeah.
Really, it's the divine feminine when we can see another female and celebrate them and praise them without it being anything more that we're not looking for anything from it. We're
No.
just saying you're fabulous because you're here. Um, and yet for some people they fear that they would be seriously concerned about what we actually do in our circles.
Yeah.
Um, and I think if they came and they seen that well, I don't know what you do in your circles. I've seen the photographs, but I don't know what you actually do. I have never physically been there. Um, Mine is we meditate, we write that stuff down,
Yep, exactly. That's exactly what we do. Yep.
and we burn it, burn that stuff.
Yep.
And some people scream, and some people shake it off, and some people just quietly go.
Yep.
So but I know if anybody actually seen us do it, they're probably going, "Oh my God, what's going on?" And it's actually just a lovely way of at least once a month for us going, I've had enough of this nonsense in my life, and I need to just let some of this stuff go.
Go.
And for
Yeah.
me, even if you're not into the witch in the way
Yeah.
that we are, the Wicca and stuff, the way we would be, and the spirituality and the divine feminine, so on and so forth, just having a chance once a month
Yeah.
to write that stuff down and go this and write down this is how I want my life to go.
Yeah.
And this have a quiet space with no children, with women that are like minded. Not that we love our children, but I'm talking like 3 hours a month.
Yeah.
That's a lot to ask for. No children, no males, where we just let that stuff go and we rest and we recalibrate and we're quiet and we think, well, here's how I want things to be. Here's
Yeah.
what I want to do in the future. That's not a threat to anybody.
No.
It's not a threat to anybody. But when women gather for some reason, and I think it is just because women are fairly powerful, do you know?
Yeah.
And so
Exactly.
when we gather, people go,
Oh, what are they
it's
doing
like,
now? Yeah.
really, we're not. No, we don't even jump over the fire. We're too. Most of us are too old to jump over fires. We do just literally. I even have my stuff. I have all my stuff. I have my ladies in garden chairs that recline.
Yeah. Oh, I
I have
love
one of
that.
those. Rather than getting them up and down off the floor, let's be in chairs. That's right. Too old for that nonsense. Um,
I love
so coming now to our um last three questions, Heather, your
Yeah.
favorite, like I always say, we can ask, you can answer one, two, or three, whichever, or all three. It's entirely up to you. Favorite book, favorite phrase, and what you would tell your younger self.
So my favorite book, I've actually I've kind of have two. So I've kind of done it as my because a bit like what we was talking about earlier, I have my favorite, which always gives me my inner child and probably where it all started, which is the Magic Faraway Tree. I mean, I just love that book and I still read it now. When I need to have that moment of inner child, I'm like, I love that book. Um, and but the book that I have found recently that I'm reading, which I love, is The Witch's Way Home by Emma Griffin.
Lovely.
Um, so I find her very inspirational and her books very inspirational. And that's just one that I go to quite a lot and I really love it. Um, so yeah, so that's kind of like my sort of recent one because I think as we were sort of saying, I can't actually say what my favorite because I'm like, I love this one today. I love that. So as I say, that's why I was like, oh, I have my childhood favorite book, and then this is my favorite book of the time. Um, and my favorite phrase, I don't really have a favorite phrase. Because I think again, I have too many. I have too many. I think, oh, that's a really good one. What's my favorite crystal? Oh, this one is today. That one is, you know.
Yeah,
But I guess something I probably would say, not necessarily a phrase, but something I use quite a lot, with people is, we can't control everything that happens to us, but we can control how we react to it.
yeah,
So I find that a very powerful statement to use because it seems to put a lot of things into perspective for people. It's
yeah,
just, I mean, the fact
absolutely.
that we can't control it, but how we react to it is in within our control. Um, and I don't, what would I say to my younger self? I think again, I'd have a whole book ready for her now. I
Well,
think,
here's the thing. Why don't you write that book?
yeah, well, yeah, I sort of am, I think, in a roundabout way at
Good,
the moment. But
good,
yeah,
brilliant.
yeah. But I think I would just tell her to be brave, um, be herself, or just be herself. Don't ever let anyone try and tell her to be anything that she's not. Just be herself, really. Yeah.
Do you think, Heather, I know we've finished with three questions, but I'm going to scoot back a wee bit. Do you think it's easier now? And you're a good bit younger than me, but do you think it's easier for kids now because there's so much information on the internet and there's so much myth busting and there's so many people have coming out of the closet and I know they talk about the woke. Woke is just waking. We've just opened our eyes and gone, maybe it shouldn't really be like this. We shouldn't really be poisoning the planet, etc. Do you think it's easier for younger generations to be more open about their practices and to be themselves than it would have been for us?
Oh, I think 100%. I mean, we have so many, and do you know, it's actually really beautiful because we have so many young people come into the shop. And what's even more lovely is they come in with their parents, and their parents go, I don't really understand it, but it makes them happy, so I'm happy. And I'm like, oh my God, that is just such a beautiful moment. And I'm like, thank you. And I say to them, I'm like, thank you. Thank you for letting them be themselves. And they're like, well, and so many parents have come in afterwards and said, oh, I don't know what you do or what you say or but thank you because you've changed their life for what and they feel so happy to come in. And so I think it's amazing. I mean, we had like literally today a nursery come in and they bought four of their little people, like really little people. They were probably only all of about 5 years old, and they were trying on the hats, and then they were looking at all the crystals, and then they chose a crystal to take back to the nursery.
Oh,
And I was like, that is just so beautiful. And then they want me to go to the nursery and talk a little bit about what, herbs and magic and what it is. And I'm like, that is I know. I'm like, I love it. So, I think, yes, I think it's an amazing time for people to be able to be, and, kind of, yeah, to have it. I think my only thing that I feel for it at the moment as well, though, is that dare I say, but I do feel like there's also a lot of unauthentic people that
oh,
are
oh,
kind so and
yeah.
they're saying to people, don't ever do a spell like that. Don't ever put this there, and you must light a candle first, and don't do this, and don't. You should never. I mean, I say actually, I do have a phrase. I was like, well, I do have a phrase. No, I was like, we should never preach, we should teach.
H. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So, and I feel
Absolutely.
there can be a lot, and so when people come into me, they're like, "Oh, I saw on TikTok, or I saw on YouTube." And so I first of all I say to them, "But how do you feel about it?
Feel.
Let's talk about first of all how you feel." So if we're talking about working with the Fae, you've listened to all these things that tell you no, 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 this is dangerous. Don't. And I said, but let's talk about how you feel first about it. So it's kind of like talking about so. For me, yes, I think it's amazing because there is all of that, but I would just always kind of think, let it be from your soul, your heart, what
Yeah.
you feel. Magic,
Abs-
everything is about you. There is no wrong or right. If you're doing it from a place of love and you're doing it from that place, then no spell you're going to do is going to be wrong. If you light your candle last and you forget, and I mean, I'm the world's, but I mean, I'm every form of witch known to man. I'm like, oh God, but I've just, what have I got? Oh yeah, that'll do. That'll be fine because the intention I'm doing it all.
You
You
see, for
know.
me, it's the intention, and that's the thing I say to people when they come for Reiki. Um, Probably don't say it often enough. I probably don't won't do what you expect because I did get taught traditional Reiki. I then got I can't even think what you call the word, the Mary Magdalene and the
Okay, yeah.
angelic realms and stuff.
Yeah.
And then I kind of, through all of that, I kind of thought, I need to make this mine. I need
Yes.
to do this. I need to connect to spirit in my way
Yeah.
for me to have that open channel, that I'm not restricted by what symbols am I meant to be doing where for what reason. And I
Yeah.
have found that my connection to people and what I'm able to tell them is so much clearer now that I am doing. I loved having the teaching so that I had a basics of this is basically
Yeah.
what we do. But to then go and make it your own is absolutely, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely 100% agree. Um,
Yeah.
and I think you just keep yourself that, how you feel about it. But I love the wee statement, always for my highest and best good.
Yes,
That way,
absolutely.
if you like the candle last, doesn't matter. You're right about its intention. If your
Yeah.
intentions are absolutely pure, then it doesn't matter what direction round you do it.
Yeah.
You're
Exactly.
not going to
Because
bring in
sometimes,
anything.
yeah.
No,
I
no,
mean, menopausal brain that I have, I mean, everything's just skoo whiff at the moment anyway. And I'm like, they know what I'm doing. So like,
it's
they know what I'm doing. So I'm not feeling judged. So
brilliant,
yeah,
brilliant. Um, Thank you very much.
you are very
I
welcome. Thank you
really
for having
appreciate you
me.
coming on, and I appreciate your openness and your honesty. I'm hoping to attract more people like you. Um, because I just think I kind of come back to myself in the last um 6 months, maybe,
Yeah.
where I kind of, yeah, I'm re-embracing. It's kind of one of those, it ebbs and flows with me where
Yeah.
I'm all in it, and then I get caught up in life, and then
Yeah.
it flows away from me, and then it flows back. Thankfully, it always comes back.
Yeah.
Um,
The thing
so
is, I
thank you.
I know that I can't allow it to flow away, if that makes sense, because for me, it is my flow. It's I literally, if I'm not kind of with it, doing it, even a little bit, lighting my candle, do it, just feeling it. For me, it's like life, and I know how much it means to me, and I just now, for me, I live it, breathe it every day because I just don't want to not live without it. It's kind
No,
of
no, no.
it really
But when
has.
I say blow away, what I mean by that is there will be days where my whole day is
Yeah.
that. And there will be other days where I've just about managed to light a candle.
Oh yeah. Oh
That's what
no,
I mean
so
by
that's
the ebb and flow,
yeah.
where, yeah,
I'm with you.
knowing,
That's the
knowing whether.
same. That's the same. That is exactly the same for me. There were days that yeah.
You have too many crystals everywhere
Yeah, I
for it to
know.
be
Yeah,
too
it's like
far away
oh
from me. It's never
yeah.
that far
No,
away, but it just
I
means
fully hear
there's
you.
days where that's all I'm doing, and there's other days where, like I say, if I get to light a candle or a bit of incense, that's
Yeah.
as much as I've done. But I think that's real life,
Yeah,
Heather.
exactly.
That is
Yeah.
real life, and it wouldn't matter what your passion is or what your that's real life.
Yeah.
Um, Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
You are very welcome.
Thank you.
Thank
I,
you.
I really appreciate you coming on and talking to us, and I wish you all the very best for the Emporium. And I hope that whatever way it expands, whether it goes up or sideways, we hope it's always a vertical ascension towards
Yep,
spirituality.
yep,
But we want the building to
yeah.
so you can bring in more and more people. You were talking about the wee ones. Because I have crystals all over the house, but according to my granddaughter, they're rocks. The funny thing, and she loves counting them. She counts them into a wee thing and then counts them out to a wee thing and counts them into it. So last night she was getting the wee tiny rocks like that and just placing them around the house. And my stepdaughter's like, no, and I'm going, no, she's putting out a perfect grid. Leave her alone. She knows where
Oh,
the energy's got to be. Let her do it.
oh my gosh, that is
And she's only
amazing.
4, and I'm like, no, let her.
No, do it, do it.
This is how we get them started.
Oh, definitely. That is amazing. I love that.
So thank you. Start them young. So what do we? That was my thing with nursery was, and the other thing about nursery. Sorry, and I'm keep saying thank you as if I'm going to let you go, and then I keep talking on. Um, when you were talking about the nursery, is the herbs we now actually have the empirical evidence, the scientific empirical evidence to back up why what we say works, which is just which our grandmothers and beyond didn't have. Whereas now we can say, well, lemon and honey work because they're microbial, antibacterial, antifungal, and you're going, that's how it works.
See?
That's why we pick
Yeah,
pepperoni things, or
they
you know,
knew.
they knew they
They
just didn't
knew.
have the science. We have the science. We have whole books of this science now, which go and read them if you want to, but just go with your gut, go with what
Yeah,
your body tells you
yeah,
you need. Um, so yes, at least when you go in, if there was any parents that kind of go, oh, I have the books to go, well,
yeah. I'll be like, here you
here's
go. Yep.
here's the scientific proof of what I'm talking about. Um, Heather, thank you so much. I really appreciate
You
you
are
coming
very
on board
welcome.
and talking to us this afternoon. I will, as always, keep watching you on Facebook. You will send me your links and things, and we'll put them below or somewhere around for people so they can find you. And hopefully, if there's anybody close to you, they can come and visit you. And if not, they can at least watch what you're doing and learn from what they see you doing online.
Yeah, that's lovely. No, thank
Thank
you
you
so
so
much for
much.
having me. Big